Hello, Mr. Solis here for the AQR. In this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and look at how to get money and all that. We're looking at some money things. So we have this particular character, Kefi, who's has three different job offers, as illustrated right here. And as you can read, one is a full-time position as an editor that pays a salary of $37,500 per year. Another full-time position is e-learning designer that has a wage of $26.50 per hour. And the final offer is a representative that receives a 5% commission on all the sales, but they typically sales representatives typically sell approximately $100,000 per month in textbook sales. So we're going to be using all this information to go ahead and make a analyze these job offers. So we have a sheet that I'm going to give to you during class that has all this information. So first we have the income information, which is $37,500 per year. Next one is $26.50 per hour. And the final one right here is 5% of 100,000 per month. Now, you guys understand that there's some iffies about some of these, but we won't go ahead and go into details about that. Now, on question 2, it says estimate the gross annual income. This means 1 year. 1 year's worth of income from this, and this is the gross amount. Of course, we understand that what you get paid isn't what you're going to get in and at the end. You're going to be having a few deductions. We're going to be doing the deductions in this particular course. So first things first, the process for this one, for the first one, for the editor, is basically no process because we already told this is the amount that he gets per year. The next one for the designer, we take 2650 and we're going to multiply that by the number of hours that this person works in 1 week. So that will be approximately, let me see. So we got 5 8-hour work days, especially when we go back to the section right here and it says the job assumes 5 8-hour work days. So 5 times 8 it would be 40. So we have 40 hours a week. That's full time. Then if we want to go ahead and get this for the entire year, we have to remember that there's 52 months in 1 year. So we're going to go ahead and take these numbers and multiply by 52. And that gives us a grand total of, let's see, 55,120. And so that's how much money that person will earn in 1 year, and that is the gross. Now the next one, we have already 100,000. That's 1,000,000. Let's see, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 100,000. Do not put one more zero because some people get that wrong. They'll put 600,000 at the end. So times 0.05 because that's the percentage that he's going to receive. And then we have 12 months out of the year. So that gives us $60,000 for the entire year. So far, that sales representative is looking pretty good if you can go ahead and make that 100,000 per month. So that'd be a really, really one of those things that you need to be careful with when to go ahead and considering a job. Now, on the next one, it says estimate the gross monthly income for each job offer. So we have to do this for each month for the gross. So he's going ahead and comparing, and he's looking at, let's see, he's assuming each job pays monthly instead of bi-monthly or anything. It's just 1 month. And we're going to go ahead and record these into our table. So recording this into this table, the process basically is dividing each one of these numbers by 12. So, and when we get that, the numbers are basically, let's see, 300, $3,125 for the first one. The next one, would be $4,593.33. We always do dollars and cents. The next one is just $5,000. So far, that first one's still looking pretty good. Now, if we were to go ahead and just look at these and we just assume that we have what we have, most people would automatically pick the sales representative job if they're just looking at money and think they can go ahead and make those sales no matter what. The designer's still looking really good too, and the editor not so much. So let's take a look at what they want us to do. So based on the gross monthly income, which job would you recommend? So don't worry about that. We'll do that in class. You guys have already done it. So let's see about that. Now we're determining after-tax income. So basically, this is the stuff that we're deducting. We're deducting this out of things because you know what? Only a couple of things are certain in this lifetime, and that's death and taxes. So we have right here, we can read this. The U.S. government deducts Social Security, which is 6.2%, and Medicare, which is 1.45%, and just to be on the safe side, Caffey will deduct 15% of his gross income to cover federal income tax. So he's covering himself on all those ends. Now, he doesn't live in a state with state income tax like here in Texas, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, other states do have a state income tax, and you know what? You have to go from state to state to figure that out. So if we want to record this into our table, now looking at all this, we have to take all these percentages and add them together. And this will go ahead and help us with all this work. So this comes out to be 22.65%. Now what we're going to use with that, we can go ahead and use this in several different ways. We can go ahead and find out what the deduction is and then subtract that from the gross amount, or we can multiply by the difference of this. So I'm going to show you both methods. Both methods work very well. The first method is to go ahead and just simply take each one of these numbers. So we're going to go ahead and go back over here. The first method is to take each one of these numbers and find out how much our deduction is. So 3,125 times 0.2265. Remember, we have to change that back into a decimal. Now, just getting this real quick. 1325 times 0.22565, sorry. And that comes out to 70781. So my deduction, the stuff I'm going to be subtracting, is 707.81. And we can go ahead and do that. 3125 minus 707.81. And this is what we get. 2417.19. 2417.19. And we can do that with the rest of these too, just to go ahead and find those out. 4593.33 times 0.2265. Find out what we're going to take out. That gives us 1,040.39. Do that real quick. 4593.33 minus 1040.39. Whoops. That comes out to 355.294. 355.2.94. Final one right here, so we do the same thing. 5,000 times 0.2265. Whoops, not 500, 5,000. 113250. Remember that these are all everything we're subtracting. So 5,000 minus 1132.50. And so that's 3867.50. Now that's one method, or you can do the other method, which is taking that 100% minus 22.65. So this is the amount that's remaining. So if you take a look at right here, the first one, so it's 3125 times 0.7735 comes out to your exact numbers. And you can do that for all of these. I mean, 4593.33 times 0.7735. Same exact numbers. That's the fascinating thing about math and doing percentages. I mean, you can do this all day. 5,000 times 0.7735. And there we go. We have the same exact numbers. So that's how you get that particular thing. All right, so we have all this information. We've done everything here. We found out what our aftermath monthly income. So the only job here that's really falling short is our editor jobs because it's at $2,417.19. And Kathy says I need at least $3,000 to pay all my bills and live. So we can't work out that. So we're going to go ahead and stop right there in this particular tutorial. Please have taken notes if you need to. Well, not if, because you do need to. And we'll talk about this later on. And there is going to be a second part to this so we can complete our table. See you around.